Okay, so hi, this is Elizabeth from Business and Ethics, and I'm going to be interviewing Rebecca Mahutsky, who is a graphic designer. So go ahead, first tell us a little bit about yourself, about your education, and what you specialize in your business.
So I first went to a four-year college and got a computer science degree. And I was doing that for a few years, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the problem-solving aspect. But, I moved and the job market crashed. And so I thought, well, this is a good time for a change. So I got my two-year degree in graphic design, which can have some computer science website aspects to it. So they're two separate degrees, but they can come together in some ways. And I think enjoy it even more because I like problem solving and I like helping my clients, and I feel like helping them understand who they are as a business and how to market themselves and do better. Those are things that I can do really well. And so I really enjoy that. And I'm doing that freelance because, as you can probably hear, these kids in the background, I'm currently staying at home to raise them. And then once they're older, I'll either be working for probably a graphic design firm or continuing to do freelance photography and graphic design and things like that. So it really depends on the job market, and it depends on what I want to do because there's a lot of options out there.
So what are some services that you currently offer in your business?
Sorry, I think the friends are moving. She wants a pickle sandwich. She wants a pickle sandwich.
They're not that loud. Just ignore them.
Okay. Here, you can have the markers. Take the markers. I completely forgot the question.
What are some services you offer?
Right. So there's a ton of website making apps, which most people can't afford to have a website built from the ground up. And frankly, I don't even think that's economical nowadays. There's so many apps like Squarespace and WordPress. So you still need to have some business savvy and some graphic design savvy if you actually want to make it look good and not kind of, a little immature, unprofessional. So amateur, thank you. So I offer the service of helping set that up for someone, create it, and then hand it over to them to update it. I do business cards, I do logos, posters, marketing materials, things like that. And I also do photography, but that's sort of a side business from that.
That's actually what I recommend to students is they find a graphic designer that isn't going to build from the ground up, that they have to maintain it. And so that they go through a company, it initially gets built by you, and then you can maintain it as in the company. So what are some services that you offer when you're creating it like that?
What you mean, what I would do for the website?
Oh yeah, so if you're so for example, I use WordPress. What do you do to help clients build this website? Like, do you help them? Yeah.
Well, so just as a side note, some graphic designers actually like that the people come to them every month. Then they get a nice monthly fee. It's good business for them if you can never actually maintain your own website. But especially for smaller businesses, I think, nowadays people are savvy enough with the internet that they can post, maybe not mom, who I have been having to help for the last 5 years, but they can update it themselves. If I've given tutorials on how to do it, like here's how you update your blog, here's the things that you can do. So things I've done for websites, I've made graphics for the websites, I made logos and like the header for it so everything looks cohesive. You would design how many pages are you going to have, what's most important. I do sometimes I'll do content, which is here's what should go on the page, this sounds professional, this is keeping it concise, and knowing how people view web pages so they don't get bogged down because they're viewing it on phones and they're viewing it on smaller screens nowadays. So you don't want to have huge things of pictures and really wordy content. You want to let them get in there, get the information they need. So I'll help people be like, well, what are the things that we need to focus on? and they'll give me graphics. I can improve them, I can crop them, and I make my own and things. Those are kind of the things of that nature. Just making it look cohesive, making it look professional, and getting information from them. It's very important. You know your business best, whatever your business is. So getting them to think about what they need and what would serve them, and then also sometimes guiding them with my experience and my knowledge so that we can come to something really great.
So one of the things that you've done for my website that I assume you would be helping others is bios tend to be really tough for a lot of people, like the wordingness and how they want to write it. So how do you help people, like, for example, write a bio or help them with content?
Well, I mean, some people, they have it all set up and I just plug it in and it's fine. I know with yours, I think I was an editor in a past life. I've done newsletters and things like that. So I can make things, I will sometimes change words or fix things, make it more concise, clean it up a bit if someone already has one. I mean, sometimes what I'll just suggest if people are struggling is that they look at a website they look up to, or something, not to copy off of, but say like, okay, what did you like about this website? Or what did you like about this logo? Because if you have no ideas, then it's like, okay, well, think about something you really like. What did you like about that specifically? Because I never copy logos and things like that. But you can, then sometimes it helps you be like, oh, I like that color, or I like the clean font, or I like how easy and open this website is and easy to navigate. But yeah, just with interviews and talking to clients, I mean, I could help them come up with a bio. Some people don't really need all that help. And on that topic, if people need less help, then it just ends up being cheaper because I usually do an hourly rate. Depending on my services, it's like 30 to 40, depends. Sometimes I'll charge a little bit less if I know it's going to be a long job with just a lot of phone calls and stuff like that, which isn't very labor intensive for me. But for example, we discussed before, well, if someone already has a logo and they know what they want, like this is exactly what I want, here's a sketch, that's way cheaper because they already know, clients who know what they want and have already thought about this and done some research, it's way cheaper and easier for me and cheaper for them because we're not wasting all that time, or I mean, it's not a waste, but like going through, what is your business about? What are you looking for in your website? What are you looking for in your logo? It's saving, you know, if they do that research and stuff, some of it on the front end, they can make it a little more affordable for themselves and they kind of have a better grasp of what they're looking for. Because I have had a few clients where they just really don't know. And I mean, it makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah, I remember when you helped me with my logo, which I love, I basically took things that I liked from different logos and said, okay, this is what I like from this logo and this is what I like from there. And then you were able to change that to something I didn't even anticipate. Hi, Ariana. Didn't even anticipate, like it was so, it's just so beautiful. I love my logo so much. It was like you transformed it into something I couldn't even imagine.
Well, and thank you very much. And I do a digital illustration as well. So that's what I incorporated a bit into yours because yours is an image-based graphic. Yours has a nice image for it. It doesn't always. Some logos I've done, it's mainly type. But trying to create beauty and uniqueness, there's so many store-bought logos. All of them just sort of look the same. You know what? That's not eye-catching. I mean, as you know, you use Vistaprint for things. You can get cheap business cards and logos and things like that, but they all kind of look the same, and they aren't always unique. They don't always fit exactly what you want. And so, you know, the nice thing about a logo or a business card is if it's very uniquely you and suited for your business, you can have that same logo for your lifetime or for the next 10, 20 years. So it's an investment in your business because you shouldn't be, I mean, you can, but you really shouldn't be changing every 6 months or every year. Like, oops, I changed it, you know, figure out what you want, invest in it, and move forward with that. I actually brought my little sketchbook up just to show people a bit. I mean, so like here I was looking at sketches for women in manufacturing. Like I do this with the client, I come up with some ideas. I work with pencil and show them and work with them, like what draws you, what, you know, are you intrigued by any of these? This is actually pretty similar to the digital. This one there is relatively similar. I think the text is different. This business wanted a logo, and they had a gorgeous, detailed, gorgeous historical building, and they were really proud of that fact. So I created a really unique illustration of their building and incorporate it into their logo. So, you know, really make it unique and something that they can love, and set them apart from the rest of the field.
Yeah, very often when people could pick something like Vistaprint, I encourage my students, if you don't have a logo that you love, you don't need a logo. You don't need a logo. You absolutely don't need one until you find one you love. Because like I said, you don't want to be changing your logo. But so often I see massage therapists, and I know they got their cards from Vistaprint, because the same massage therapist will all pick the same logo. And that logo that's on your card, I've seen on 50 other massage therapist cards, you know, like, I see it with my students as well. They'll pick a logo, like, this one's really nice. I go, I know you think it's nice. So did 50 other massage therapists, just to meet you.
I mean, especially when you're starting out, your main thing is, hey, they need my contact information. It's definitely, oh, just a bunch of chips fell on the ground. It's definitely better than nothing, somewhere to start out. It's also good to know that a logo doesn't even have to have graphics. It could just be text. Like, so this is a logo. I hand letterpress this, but this is type it. My name, my initials are RM. So I focused on that, created a really colorful, I don't know, oh, there it goes. It's darkening a bit. Just made it very color oriented, showed up some typography skills because I'm a graphic designer. A little bit of color on the back, but like, you know, it's eye-catching and it's simple. A business card can be simple. Its main job is to get people to contact you and to remember you. And obviously, I think it's good to invest in your business and something that represents you, that then you can take from your business card. Then you maybe put it in letterhead if you send out official emails or letters, or maybe in a website, so they all feel cohesive and together. They're not all just different, don't even feel like the same thing. That's definitely a lot more professional. And I think it can help your business and set you apart. I know, like, if you go to a massage business, or a salon even, everyone's cards look the same. I always lose them, and then I'm like, I don't even remember who my person was. And I always have to ask them, what person did I even, not obviously you're my massage person, but like, who even did my hair? I don't remember their name. All the cards look the same, which is fine if you're working for a business. They'll give you free cards. That's always nice. Getting some free business cards is nice, but it is nice to be set apart. People will remember you better. And, you know, you have a thing where you like green, nature. You have a very whimsical, fun energy, and I try to bring that to your business as much as I can. It's not my style. My style is a little bit different, but it's important. It's important for me.
This is why she sends emails out at midnight, because that's when she's working on all these projects.
But it's important for me to, even if it's not always my favorite style, I'm trying to find your style, because clients will recognize that, oh, this is bright and colorful, and that's them. Okay, what is it? We're having an interview right now. Can you sit down? We can talk with Anthony. Maybe we'll Zoom chat with her later today, okay? She was asking what I was doing and whispering it in my ear.
So what's the importance of like business cards? You can help people put together like a business card. So what's the importance of having a nice business card?
Well, I know in your business, sometimes you can, a salon or massage business, you'll want some free space to write something on it. And maybe people keep it in their wallet and then will call you when they hopefully remember to actually call you when they need your services, instead of just being like, oh, well, I can't find it. I don't remember how to contact them. I'll just go to the nearest massage business and take anyone. I know people in that industry, massage, hair, nails, if people aren't committed to you, they'll just go to anyone who's free. So you do try to want to cultivate a loyal following, so they won't just go for anyone. Oh, well, I don't care who I get. You want to be unique. You want them to ask for you in particular. Thank you. Okay. I hear a sound too. Okay, go away. But most business cards, you have something that distinguishes you, and then you're most succinct, just a few bits of information. The best ways to contact you, your name, and what is it you do. Mine says graphic designer. Maybe yours is massage therapist, but you don't want it to have too much on it. I know you've been looking into, with your cards, you wanted a little blurb about you on it to kind of have people connect with you more. And that's something you could definitely do. But I mean, especially if you're starting out, you probably want a cheaper business card, which is one-sided. And then you can always write on the back and be like, don't forget such and such, or this stretch will be good for you. And you can write that on your card. And you can always get better and better business cards as your business improves. But I think it also is important to consider, I mean, you don't want to go broke paying for marketing and business. You start out small and you can build on it. And as a graphic designer, when I do a logo for someone, I'll give them several sizes and be like, hey, here's the image. It's yours. You paid for it. We have a contract, where we say, agree to what I'm giving them ahead of time. But if you paid for the logo, I'll give you sizes. I'll give you black and white or whatever you want. And then you can use that on LinkedIn or business profiles or Facebook. And you can use that across your websites. And then if you need more, you can come back for more. And just a side note, I always try to get everything in writing. I've known designers who have gotten in trouble where someone changes their mind or asks for more work. It's always very important. I like it in writing. That way, if there was ever a problem, you can be like, hey, you said in writing that this is fine. But getting in writing exactly what you want. I want several image files of a logo, or I would like this website to be completed and then hand over me. Everyone knows, and it's very clear. It's very important to have clear communication so that people aren't disappointed and frustrated at the end, thinking, oh, I thought I was going to get more, or things like that. It's very important to protect yourself, and I protect myself. And I think most reputable graphic designers will have a contract. What I do is I have my bill lists that when you pay me, that's when I will send my files to you, and they are now yours to do with what you wish. And some graphic designers will have you sign a contract at the beginning that says, here's what I'm doing for you. You agree to pay me at the end of it. Or for example, you agree to pay me some up front and some later. Since I do a lot of small jobs, which are only a few $100, I don't make people pay me up front usually, but I will not give you the files until you pay me, because I don't want to give you the files and then, whoops, I don't have any money, you don't pay me. So I'm just a side note that it's important to protect ourselves. We're all small business owners here. No one wants to get screwed over.
And even I just did that. I started bartering. It's a 50% bartering with a cleaning person. I created a quick contract that said, this is what I'm agreeing to, this is what you're agreeing to. So our communication is in line, and so that there's no misunderstandings later. We're agreeing to every 2 weeks, no more than 4 hours. It's this much money and this much massages. So no one feels
taken advantage of, or
yeah, there's no confusion.
That frequently happens with, I try to do phone calls and email stuff, because sometimes you can lose things, or you misword things, or tone isn't there. And it's very important to have clear communication in your business, because it's so easy for people to get confused or say, oh, okay, yes, and then don't know what they're agreeing to. And at least then you have a paper trail. So if there ever is concern, you can be like, hey, this is what we agreed to. It's all in writing. That's one of the reasons I do some phone calls to firm up things, but it's always verified in writing after the fact. Like, hey, per our phone call, you want XYZ, I will get it to you by this date, or, and it's all clear, so that there's a paper trail, and they can never go and say, well, I'm going to sue you, or I don't want to. It's like, hey, it was all in writing, everyone's safe.
Back to the business cards real quick. As massage therapists, a couple ideas that we can do for the back of our business cards. I was always taught that you want a back because the back might be the first thing people see if it's in their wallet, and they might not flip it around. But so I recently did just a small blurb of what I do on the back with my picture, because I want to create trust. I want them to see me, so they see my face, not my name, because people are more likely to recognize your face than your name. again, they're going to see the fact that Rebecca has created a fun, environmentally earthy card. So they know that all my clients know that I'm very earthy, you know, that I'm playful. They have that, they can sense this energy off me. Another thing you do on the back of your business card is an appointment card so that you can write in their next appointment on the back of it. You can put a referral card on the back of it. Hey, if you want to give this to someone and get a discount on a referral, you can put a punch card on the back of it. You come in for $5, you get the 6 50% off or free, whatever you want to do. So there's a lot of options you can do for a back of a business card. I personally found when I made just a referral card, those never got back to me. But you can always put the referral on the back of your business card so that all your clients know that you're getting referrals. Your business card is one of your best marketing tools, which is why I make you finish it before the end of the class. What else? And so you could just make it really nice. I handed a business card because I specialize, you know, in prenatal. It's definitely a target market I have a harder time reaching. I was at Trader Joe's. She was pregnant. I never come right out and ask, when are you pregnant? I'll say something that I can fix later, like, oh, how much longer do you have? She might be like, if she's pregnant, she'll know what I'm asking. Otherwise, they might be like, oh, I get off in an hour. You know, I never come right out and assume they're pregnant. She was 7 months. It was pretty obvious. You never want to assume. I gave her my business card as I was handing her my money, saying, hey, I specialize in prenatal massage and I'm a doula. She's like, oh, that's really cool. And she just takes my business card. You can do that. Now we're 6 feet apart in grocery lines, but even when you're in a grocery line, it's always an opportunity to hand them that business card.
I have gotten in trouble with that pregnant thing. I had overheard someone and thought they said that she was still pregnant, and I misheard she'd already had the kid. And I was like, this is why I never say anything. And I was like 6 or 7 months pregnant before anyone would even congratulate me, because they were like, I don't know, man. No one wants to get dinged. But you could always just, like, if it says you do prenatal, you can be like, I offer lots of services and a sports massage and prenatal. Who knows what you're here for? I mean, you can definitely have to be careful with that. But
because the people will have a pouch after they give birth. There's still a pouch for a while, and they're very self-conscious of it usually. And then I've known people
I looked fully pregnant for several months, or I looked at least 4 or 5 months pregnant for a couple of months after. So be aware of that. But then you could do postnatal maybe. I mean, if you have, you know, pains from after labor and things like that. But so back to your business card thing. I mean, you could have something like on the back that says 10% off your first, like, you know, a coupon thing, 10% off, or give this card to a friend. If you give this card to a friend and they do a massage, then you get X off or something like that. It could be part of your promotional offer and things like that. So there's a lot of fun things you can do to utilize. And it's printing cards is so cheap right now because, I mean, I guess people are young enough not to remember how expensive printing is. Now you can like, even do it at home, or like it's so cheap and easy because of laser printers. They can print. It used to be a lot of extra money to print colored of posters and things like that, and now it's really not that much more expensive. So you can really do fun, colorful things to catch people's eyes, and you know, there's a lot of fun stuff out there.
When you went to a printer, because when I worked at a location where I was an independent contractor, they basically said, this is the printer I use, so this is who has our logo. So if you want cards made up, go there, because that's where the logo is. And so I had to go to the printer the business was using. And you basically had to pay for every color you wanted. I liked it because it was raised. I thought that was really fun. But basically I had to go there. I had to create the business card. It was really expensive. But now with all the online things, like it's definitely become more affordable. How much did I just pay for, I think, 1,000 business cards? I think I spent.
It's like 40 or.
I think I spent like $50, $60 to get the 1,000, which you were making fun of me.
Because you added you put some add-ons on there.
I did the rounded edges with pretty paper, and I think I wound up paying $60. And like we were saying, that's probably going to take me like 3-4 years to go through if I'm diligent about like giving them away, which I'm not.
So I worked 2 years in computer consulting in Chicago, and when I started, they gave me like a box of business cards. Yeah, I ended up recycling or giving them to the kids to play with because I worked there for 2 years. I don't know that I handed any of those out. Now I have a different business than yours, but my point is that in general, I think it was 250 business cards or something like that. Most people don't hand out huge amounts. And although Liz and I had talked about how the more you buy of something, when you buy in bulk, yes, it's cheaper, but what if your phone changed or your website changed or maybe you go into a whole nother thing? I wouldn't recommend getting more than like 500 or 250, just because that would see how long it takes you to run out. Maybe it takes you 1 to 2 years, and then you'll know. Most people don't go through quite so many unless they're really putting them out there.
Yeah, and I do know some people that are amazing at that. What I use them for is not only do I have them in my purse, I attach 3 to this Welcome to My Office kit. And that allows the client to have one and to be encouraged to be handing them to other people. So I give 3 to every new client. Then I just encourage clients. Are like, oh, I was telling my friend about you. Take some business cards. If they're telling their friends about me, I automatically give them 5 of my business cards so they can start handing them out. Even though it doesn't say anything more about referrals on the back like it used to, just as a way to bring people into. Business cards are a great tool. So making sure that it's a nice, crisp lines, that it's easy to read, going to a graphic designer and having them create one for you, which is not a lot of work. If the logo's already done, it did not take Rebecca a long time to create a business card for me. When she created the logo, at one time I had to go back because I forget which company it was. My logo is rectangular and I needed a square logo for one of the websites that I advertise on. And she was able to do that for me. So there's all these things that you can do.
Well, with regard to logo orientation, I have sometimes designed a logo that's meant to go wide or vertical, and I design them 2 different ones. And I say, hey, this one's good for maybe the top of the website or Facebook, it's really wide. And this one, it looks better, very small. So I'll do that sometimes, like, hey, this one is the small version of your logo, and maybe it's pared down, but it's very clearly recognizable. They definitely still feel like the same brand. And you'll see, if you look around you, you'll see brands that do that, like, oh, this is what they do in this size, and this is what they do for billboards. They'll sometimes make changes like that, so it works better, because sometimes in small formats or weird sizes, your logo won't really work that well, and you kind of need to work around it. And I also give Liz a lot of transparent logos, because one of my biggest pet peeves is a white box on a colorful background of a website. Come on, man, it's 2020 here. Let's get it together.
So some things I do with the logo is here on the bottom of my flyer, here's my logo. On all of my marketing material, that logo is going on it. Even on the header of my intake and my policy forms, it's in black and white because I don't want to pay for color because this is my copy, but there's my logo. There's my logo, top of every page. Here's a header. This is a header for a welcome letter. There's my logo. There's my information. It's going on everything. That's why it's so important that you get a good logo. Once you pick one you like, that's why it's so important. They're going to pick the text, the font and things like that.
So 2 quick things. I try to pick free fonts or ones that are very common. So it's really fun to use like exciting new fonts, and you can find ones out there. And I will sometimes do that for something like the logo, because you're not going to use that font except pasting it as an image. But I try to create business cards and other things that aren't using crazy fonts, because I want your website or your letters or whatever to be able to at least get somewhere close. I'm going to get it for you later. Please play quiet for a second. Sorry. Because I'm trying to make it versatile for clients that don't have all these fonts, and they need to be using Word or some open office. I have some open source software. She wouldn't leave me alone. Sorry, my husband's working in the basement and these children are harassing me. She was like, this is not the correct thing I want to play with. Anyway, it's a piece of clay. Okay. You know what?
We're almost done. Ariana, I swear we're almost done.
Look, it's a mangled duck. Look what they did to his beak. Okay, so anyway, back to the two things. So the first thing, as I said, was fonts. I will sometimes use a slightly snazzier font for the logo, but then I like using two fonts. One that's for like to make your name or your business stand out, and then one that pairs with it, either a contrasting font like simple and complicated, or thick and thin, stuff like that, where one stands out a little bit for one reason or the other. And then that other one, I'll sometimes try to have something that you can put on your website, or at least get close to it, because I don't expect you to like buy fancy fonts or do any of that stuff. I want to make it easy for you guys to use my logos. So I try to be really practical. The other thing was, you mentioned black and white images. One of the reasons I sometimes create a black and white image is because I can choose to make them, sometimes with colors, if it just goes to a printer in color. Yours, I explicitly try to make it so it will work anyway, with colors that are dark enough and have contrast, so that they won't just look like it's just gray blob or a gray circle with your logo. So I will sometimes also do a black and white version so that I can maybe make it darker to make sure it still prints if you are doing a black and white. There's definitely logos where you're like, oh, those colors disappeared. Now you can only see half of my logo because it's so faded. And I'll sometimes specifically punch it up, make it a little bit darker, make it a higher contrast for people that do a lot of black and white, or if someone asks for it. But nowadays it's so cheap. Not everyone does black and white, but it's definitely, you know, we're trying to save money here. We're trying to run a business. Sometimes you do black and white printing. It makes sense.
Okay, so we talked about the logo, the importance of it. Like we talked about, it is cheaper if either you sketch something and all she has to do is throw it up on a computer, or you sketch something as an idea and then she can make it into something really pretty. So it is cheaper if you have that kind of ideas. Also, now you've also done a resume for me. So what's the importance of having like a nicely done, I know you even say mine is too long as being one page double-sided, because I had a couple of students give me some really long resumes. What's the importance of maybe hiring someone to give us this really nice resume that we can then update when we need to?
I mean, you already had the logo, which I created. So I think we had that on there and a nice clean header. I mean, I'll be honest, I spent a few hours doing research before I did my own and before I did yours. What do massage business logos look like? Do they look different? What types of things do they have in them? There's a lot of free resources out there to keep in mind. The internet is vast. You can find things that tell you, here's what a nice, clean beginner's resume looks like. Here's what someone who's been in the industry for 10 years looks like. Sometimes you can find it specifically for massage or salon work, and sometimes you'll just find generic ones. But they'll show you like, hey, when you first start out, maybe you don't have a lot of job experience, so you maybe beef up other things you have, or you try and tie in things you've done in your life, volunteer work, school stuff that you've done. Maybe, like I wrote down that I was a black belt in martial arts. I was like, hey, that shows that I stuck it out. There's certain things where, especially when you don't have a lot to say, you're like, well, we got to beef it up with a few life experiences or volunteer work, and you can do those things in there. But it also depends on what career you have. And so that's why I did research on it to make sure that it was accurate. And by now, you have been in the field a long time. So what I did for you was, you had several years worth of experience. So the first job you started out with, I was like, okay, well, when you've been in this industry for 15 or however many years, no one cares about McDonald's anymore, or like, you know, Dairy Queen. So like I cut that off and kept just with the important stuff, trying to make it clear and concise. Most people probably don't need more than one page. You can expand the borders a bit if you want to like really cram it in there, or make smaller font. But for most people, you list sometimes what you're looking for in a job, or like just sometimes they'll have like a thing like, this is who I am, and like a little thing like, I am an engaging massage therapist who wants to do blah, 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 and they'll have little sentences. You don't necessarily always need those, but you do need to hit on the important things that interviewers are looking for. They don't want to search through 5 essays. They like, look, I want to know, do they have computer skills, or do they, what's their work experience? What modalities in massage do they know? They don't want to be searching through like a full page essay, like bullet points. Get to the point, make it easy to read, headings, stuff like that, to break it down. People vary about where they think stuff goes. Some people put experience first. Some people put stuff about them first or their schooling first. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's only a page or a page and a half, they can read it, but you want it to look clean, organized, no typos, no mistakes on it. That's not going to give a good impression, but you want it to look like you put thought and effort into it and you cared about presenting yourself professionally, because if they're going through 50 or 100 of these resumes, do you want to look like yours was done in 20 minutes and there's typos and it's a big mess and it's not organized? They're going to be like, oh, well, this person, like, okay, that's going in the maybe or no pile. And if they see one that's got a nice logo, it's not even necessarily, if you don't have a logo, you can still do an amazing resume with just your name at the top, but really clean, really well designed. And you can do that yourself with a lot of experience if you have experience or an artistic eye. Some people don't, but if you don't have an artistic eye, you can get better. Some of the ways, thank you, I see that. Some of the ways you get better is by showing people, yes, the tree broke, the tree is broken. You can improve, but if you go to a designer, you know you're getting their years of schooling and their years of experience to make it look amazing, and maybe they won't spend like as much time as you would trying to get it look as nice. For example, Liz had worked on her business card, and then I came through and I was like, we're gonna clean this up a bit. You know, you had the logo, but I was like, well, let's tighten it up. Let's make it look more professional. Let's make it look a little bit cleaner. And there's just a certain eye for it that you get with schooling and experience, or some people, I think, innate ability. Some people just have an eye for photography, for placement of things. But at the very least, please do your research. Just look online, look at other people's resumes, see what they put, see what they don't put, look at bad resumes. And actually, it's good to swap them around in a class and just see like, oh, what did this person do? And is this hard to read? Because when you look at your own, you're looking at your own website or your own resume. So often you think, oh, it's spelled right, everything's perfect, it's easy to understand. And then you look at someone else's and you're like, oh, that isn't easy to understand. It's sometimes hard to step back and look at it as a stranger. You become too familiar with what you're working on, be it with an essay or a website or a resume. You think, oh, this is easy to understand. And someone's like, oh my God, what are you even talking about? Or like, why is this on here? And you might be like, oh, okay. And everyone's advice or critique, maybe you won't take, but it's important to think about it and evaluate whether or not they have a valid opinion, because everyone has different opinions. But if you're getting a lot of advice that's saying, whoa, this is like huge, maybe you want to pare it back and look at what the industry standard is. For example, like
Okay, I think it's still recording, and I think my power just went out. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, my power just went out because the neighborhood's using too much air. I think it's still recording.